Hello and welcome. I just received an unsigned, unsolicited and intensely annoying communication from our electricity provider, Western Power. Its slippery sales pitch failed to mask the intrinsic threat of replacing our perfectly functioning electricity meter with a demonstrably dangerous smart meter. Having vigorously opposed these monstrous devices since day one, I immediately called their head office notifying my emphatic refusal to accept this direct menace to health on my property. The phone call was promptly followed up with emailed notification, replete with compelling reasons for refusing, while providing extensively documented proof of harm. I also cautioned vigorous legal action should they ignore my non-negotiable direction. Predictably, this instantly triggered a threatening response, clarifying their contempt for civil and human rights and that the installation will proceed regardless of my firm rejection. No utility service provider or government agency has a right to countermand directions from householders, but their sneering disregard for law is legendary. Let's place a bookmark here and return later. Meanwhile, we'll examine objections to smart meter installation amid intensifying privacy, security and health concerns. The bullyingly coercive installation of unwanted smart meters in residential homes has ignited fierce controversy, with informed opponents raising an extensive range of legal, privacy, security and health objections. Here's an analysis of these mounting concerns, drawing on current research, legal commentary and technical assessments. Let's begin with the privacy invasion of detailed monitoring of household activities. These thinly disguised spying devices collect highly granular data about electricity usage, often at intervals as short as every few minutes. It allows utilities or anyone with access to the data to infer which specific appliances are being used and when, enabling the identification of personal routines and behaviours within the home. Such detailed monitoring is a direct invasion of privacy, revealing sensitive information about occupants' daily lives, including occupancy patterns, sleep schedules, and even medical device usage. This constitutes an unacceptable violation of domestic security and privacy rights. By tracking when and how electrical devices are used, smart meters indirectly monitor household activity and occupancy. This level of surveillance further violates rights to privacy and domestic security through allowing utilities, government agencies or unauthorised third parties to build detailed profiles of residents without their knowledge or consent. Then there's the negative health impact of wireless signal vulnerabilities, exacerbated by the risk of interception. Smart meters typically transmit data wirelessly to utility providers. These devices lack robust encryption, making the data perilously vulnerable to interception by hackers or other unauthorised individuals. Intercepted data determines when a house is unoccupied, potentially aiding criminal activity such as burglary. The wireless nature of smart meters exacerbates broader cybersecurity threats, including the risk of hacking to disrupt household power or compromise other connected devices within the home. Information collected by smart meters is stored in permanent databases, which may be accessed by utility employees, contractors, or even law enforcement without the explicit consent of the resident. There are myriad documented concerns about the potential for this data to be shared with or fall into the hands of unauthorised parties, including criminals, hackers or corrupt officials, heightening the risk of blackmail, surveillance or other malicious actions. Permanent records and highly detailed life profiles are retained indefinitely, allowing those with access to review a comprehensive history of a household's activities. This results in a highly invasive profiling with data including specific times and dates of device usage, exposing the private lives of residents in alarming detail. Repositories containing confidential data can be easily misused by a range of actors, including criminals, hackers, corrupt law enforcement, or even employees of the utility company. The possibility of unauthorized access or data breaches heightens the risk of harm to residents, including identity theft, stalking, or other forms of exploitation. Accordingly, exponentially mounting legal concerns challenge covert surveillance and wiretapping laws via smart technology. Smart meters function as invasive surveillance devices, violating wiretapping laws by recording and storing information without informed consent and without the knowledge of the victim households. While the legal landscape is still evolving, there's heated debate that smart meter data collection constitutes unreasonable search and seizure when utilities are government entities. Analysis of smart meter data allows inferences about highly sensitive aspects of residents' lives, such as medical conditions through the use of medical devices, sexual activity, physical presence within specific rooms, and other personal habits. This raises the stakes for privacy violations, as such information could be exploited in harmful ways if accessed by unauthorized parties. Utility companies routinely fail to adequately disclose the full extent of smart meters' recording and transmission capabilities, leaving residents unaware of what data is being collected, how it's stored, and with whom it may be shared. This appalling lack of transparency undermines informed consent and increases the likelihood of misuse. Smart meters emit low-level radio frequency, RF radiation, as part of their wireless communication. RF radiation is a group 2B carcinogen. Concerns escalate re adverse health effects, citing myriad studies demonstrating biological impacts from chronic low-level RF exposure. The unsolicited and increasingly resisted installation of smart meters raises complex issues at the intersection of privacy, security, health, and law. Key objections centre on the invasive nature of detailed data collection, the risk of unauthorised access and misuse, inadequate transparency from utilities, and unresolved legal questions about surveillance and consent. As smart meter deployment tramples civil and human rights, these concerns underscore the need for robust legal protections, improved security standards, and greater transparency to safeguard the rights and well-being of residents. The fiercely resisted installation of smart meters in homes and businesses is not technological progress. It's a gross violation of privacy, security, health, and the law. Invasive and unwanted smart meters, as part of the broader Internet of Things, are exceedingly vulnerable to hacking and cyber attacks. Government agencies or third parties use this information for surveillance profiling or other activities that violate civil liberties. The appalling lack of clear legal safeguards and oversight facilitates abuse, where data collection under the guise of utility management is clandestinely repurposed for monitoring or collecting or controlling citizens. Transparency from utility companies is ominously inadequate, leaving residents in the dark about what data is being collected, how it's stored, and who has access to it, and for what purposes it may be used. Moreover, the process by which smart meters are installed without meaningful consultation or the option to refuse obliterates informed consent. Residents are bluntly given no choice or recourse, effectively stripping them of their right to control what happens within their own homes. The legal landscape here remains unsettled. There are deeply disturbing questions about the extent to which such surveillance is permissible under existing privacy and civil rights laws. In the absence of clear and robust legal frameworks, residents are subjected to gross overreach and abuse. As the rollout of smart meters accelerates, these concerns highlight the urgent need for comprehensive legal protections, stronger security standards, and far greater transparency from utilities and regulators. Safeguarding the rights and well-being of residents must be a top priority. This means ensuring that individuals have the right of refusal. They must have meaningful control over their personal data, that robust mechanisms are in place to prevent unauthorised access and misuse, and that the deployment of new technologies does not come at the expense of fundamental civil liberties. Without these essential safeguards, smart technology functions as globalism's unrestrained tool of surveillance and control. Australia's current situation surpasses the criminal excesses of the Stasi. Unless the Australian community takes a resolute stand against the despotic tyranny, things will only get worse. Returning to that bookmark, I'll post a PDF template link in the show notes by way of a response to this malicious aggression. Once completed with relevant details, send by registered post and keep a copy for your records. At the time of this recording, the only certainty is that installation contractors will ignore express instructions and unlawfully stormtroop onto private property. Of course, I'll fight them by every means available. But should their despotic human rights abuse prevail, they sneakily intrude when tenants are away, the first protective action will be to encase the offending item in a custom-designed Faraday cage. These are available as smart meter guards, but are easily homemade from security screen mesh. I'm concluding the preparation for this report on Anzac Day, and note that service personnel did not make the ultimate sacrifice to enable criminal corporations masquerading as government to trample civil and human rights in this abhorrent manner. In fact, this hateful tyranny is the very thing they fought against. Thank you for watching.